Hey man, we're back, man. Stay tuned. Hey man, we're back, man. Stay tuned.
News today about Dane and Tanya Snyder retaining Bank of America to look at potential transactions for the team.
Well, I don't know what that's all about, but I do know, we play the Vikings come Sunday, and that's kind of where I'm going to stay as far as that's concerned, because that's an ownership front office question.
Reaction to that? I mean, really, is get ready for the Vikings. I mean, we don't in this locker room really have a lot to do with that, what's going on outside the building. And I think, honestly, that we've done a good job as a team kind of just sticking together inside this locker room despite what's going on outside of it. And, I know that the guys we have in here, we're just going to continue to stick together and focus on what we can control on the field.
You're a leader.
Yeah, man. I feel like we just lean on our teammates in the locker room. We really don't pay attention a lot to the outside noise because we have so much stuff we have to do inside the facility. To win games. We really we just stay at the task at hand, got the blinders on, and that's how we rocking that.
There was a toughness about my mom, the way she grew up, growing up in the Salinas Valley, where a lot of the families were farm working families that worked on the farms. My grandfather worked on the farms, my grandmother did. And that was something my parents didn't want for my brothers and I. Education became a real foundation of who we are, and so that was always stressed. Sports was the next thing. My mother loved football. My dad came from Puerto Rico, and it was baseball. But football comes from my mom's side of the family. I had a couple of uncles that were tremendous football players. My godfather, my Uncle Larry, was all everything. And one of the biggest compliments I got was having an old timer come to me and say, "Boy, you played just like your uncle." That meant a lot. One of my other inspirations for football was my Uncle Bob, my mom's youngest brother. He was here last week. I got to see a couple of games, and having that part of the family here that was so instrumental in my development of football, that was important. My mom was very passionate about family. When you move from one military base to another, you had instant friends in terms of your brothers, and it was always all about family, keeping the family together. And so when we moved together, and you know, she took care of the household. When my dad went to Vietnam twice, in both those instances, my mom was our coach. You know, she pitched batting practice. She did tackling drills. I mean, that's what she did. And so if there was an inspiration in my life, more so than, you know, admiring who my father was, it was taking from my mom. You know, and I think that's, you know, that's the that's the hard part.
Police Department here in Washington, D.C. joined by several members of my team. In addition to that, the head of the Washington field office of the ATF, Christopher Hammond, as well as Council Member Charles Allen, has also joined us this afternoon. We're here today because the community stepped up to share information and tips that led to an arrest in the shooting of Washington Commanders running back Brian Robinson Jr. Let me say that again. It was because the community called and texted our tip line that we are able to make this arrest. Early this morning, members of MPD's Criminal Apprehension Unit arrested a 17-year-old male in Northeast pursuant to a DC Superior Court custody order. You've heard me say this time before. Our violent crimes get solved because of good police work, community involvement, and science. All three of those things happened in this case. Likely, like they do for every investigation of violent crime in our city, our detectives started immediately tracking down leads, and our community shared valuable information. Our federal partners at the ATF were able to use science to gather crucial evidence in this case. I want to turn it over to ATF Special Agent in Charge Christopher Hammond about how